Have you ever woken up sore and wondered what you did to cause it? Maybe you exercised the day before, or maybe you didn't. Sometimes soreness shows up after a workout, but sometimes it shows up after a long day of sitting. And those two things can be a little confusing because they can feel almost the same. But here's the interesting part. They're not the same at all, because soreness can come from challenging your body or from not moving it enough. And understanding that difference can completely change how you think about exercise, recovery, and movement. When people feel soreness in their body, they usually assume one thing: I must have overdone it. But in reality, soreness often comes from two very different biological processes. But one type of soreness means you challenge the body, the other means the body hasn't been challenged in a while. Both can feel similar, but they mean very different things. Your body is constantly adapting to what you ask of it, and it also adapts to what you stop asking it to do. That simple idea explains a lot about why soreness shows up. Let's start with the kind most people recognise: soreness after exercise. In exercise science, this is called delayed onset muscle soreness, or DOMS, and it typically shows up 24 to 48 hours after activity, especially when the movement is new or more challenging than usual. Inside the muscle, tiny microscopic disruptions occur in the muscle fibres. This is an injury, it's part of the adaptation signal. The body responds by repairing those fibres and reinforcing them so the muscle can handle that workload better next time. Researchers have studied this process for decades, and we know that the soreness people feel is largely connected to the inflammatory response that accompanies muscle repair. In other words, the soreness is part of the rebuilding process. It's the body saying, that was a challenge, I'm adapting. But here's the part many people don't realise. You can also feel sore because you're not moving enough. Now, this type of soreness isn't coming from muscle repair, it's coming from stiff tissues and reduced movement through our body. Our muscles, joints, and connective tissues are designed to move regularly. Movement doesn't just strengthen muscles, it also circulates fluid through the connective tissues that surround them. Structures like fascia rely on movement to stay hydrated and elastic. When tissues compress and release during movement, fluid is drawn into the tissue and helps keep it responsive and healthy. One way to picture fascia is to imagine a chamois cloth. When the chamois is wet, it's soft, flexible and springy. But when it dries out, it becomes stiff, brittle and rigid. Our connective tissues behaved in a similar way. Movement keeps those tissues supple and springy, and without movement, they slowly become stiff and stubborn. So when we stay in the same positions for long periods, sitting at a desk, in a car, or on the couch, the body can slowly stiffen. Tissues slowly dehydrate. We almost begin to fuse into those inactive positions. Circulation slows, range of motion decreases, muscles stay shortened for long periods, and the result can feel a lot like soreness, except this soreness isn't the body adapting to a challenge, it's the body responding to a lack of movement variety. And this is where people sometimes get confused. They feel soreness and assume that they should move less. But depending on the type of soreness, the body may actually need better movement, not less movement. Gentle activity increases circulation. It restores joint motion and it helps tissues return to their normal length and elasticity. Yes, sometimes the best thing for a stiff body is simply to move it. Movement is like a little bit of WD-40 for the body. The more regularly we move, the better our joints, muscles, and connective tissues move and glide together. Helping people move better is the reason we built movement-focused options into MOSSA On Demand. We have a full library of recovery options where you'll find sessions like De-Desk Your Body, TLC, and Move and Mobilise that help restore range of motion, reduce stiffness, and help you feel better in your body, especially on days when you need recovery, not intensity. If you'd like to explore these, check out our free trial. We'll include a link in the description. Now, this conversation also opens up the door to something important that we don't always talk about enough in fitness, and that is recovery. Many people focus entirely on workouts, but the body also needs what we sometimes call work-ins. A workout places stress on the body so it can adapt. A work in helps the body restore balance and recover from that stress. It's things like gentle mobility work, stretching, walking, self-massage, or simply moving throughout the day. These aren't workouts, they're deposits into your physical recovery account, and they help the body repair, restore, and stay resilient. We'll talk more about work-ins in a future video because they're an important part of movement health. But in the meantime, small habits can make a big difference. If you spend long periods sitting, start by simply breaking up those static positions throughout the day. Stand up, move around, give your joints a chance to go through their full range of motion again. Even brief movement breaks can help restore circulation and reduce the stiffness that builds up from inactivity. At MOSSA, we build many of these ideas into movement-focused sessions like De-Desk Your Body, TLC, and Move and Mobilize, which are designed to gently restore range of motion and help the body feel better again. But it doesn't have to be a formal session. Sometimes it's simply about giving your body a few minutes of movement variety, stretching, walking, or moving in different directions so tissues can rehydrate and reset. Because sometimes soreness isn't a signal that the body needs less movement. Sometimes it's a signal that it needs hydrating movement. What both of these types of soreness are really doing is giving us information about our movement health. When we challenge the body with new movement, soreness can be a part of that adaptation process. The body's repairing, rebuilding, and preparing to handle the challenge better next time. But when soreness shows up because we haven't been moving enough, it can be a signal that our movement health is in jeopardy. Now, our body is incredibly responsive. It adapts to what we ask of it. When we regularly move in different ways, the body adapts by becoming stronger, more mobile, and more capable. But when we stop moving in certain ways or spend long periods in the same positions, the body adapts to that too. And that's when stiffness, tightness, and inactivity soreness start to appear, which is why movement health isn't about punishing workouts or extreme routines. It's about regular exposure to movement, different directions, different intensities, different challenges, because the body thrives on variety. And when we give it that variety, something interesting tends to happen. The body simply starts to feel better. So if you ever find yourself wondering why your body feels sore, the first question isn't always, did I do too much? Sometimes the better question is, have I been moving enough? Because soreness can mean different things. Sometimes it's the signal of adaptation, sometimes it's the signal of inactivity, but either way, your body is communicating. And when we learn to listen to those signals, we can respond with the one thing the body almost always benefits from: thoughtful movement. Your body likes movement the same way plants like water. Give it regularly and everything works better. Your body's designed to move, and when we keep it moving in smart, varied ways, the body responds. It gets stronger, it gets more resilient, and everyday movement starts to feel easier because the body doesn't get old from movement, it gets old from the absence of it. And the good news is the body is remarkably willing to respond when we start moving again. And if you're looking for a simple way to build both strength and recovery into your week, MOSSA On Demand gives you both sides of the equation. Workouts that challenge your body and work-in sessions that help it recover and move better. If you'd like to explore the full library, we'll include a link in the description. I'm curious, when you feel sore, what do you think caused it? A specific workout or a daily habit that might be working against you? Let me know in the comments. And if these conversations about movement health are helpful to you, subscribe to our channel so we can keep exploring how to move better, feel better, and stay capable for life.